Welcome, everyone, to the Adonis podcast. Before we get into the premise of today's episode, I want to do a quick movie review. I finally got around to watching Obsession, and it is genuinely one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. The actress who plays Nikki is she's not an attractive person. She's a very ugly person. I also could not stand the character of Bear. Personally, I get very irritated by men who act feminine. And if you've seen Obsession, you know that Bear is basically a bitch. To be honest with you, I couldn't stand any of the characters. One of the premises to making a very good movie is you have to make, it doesn't matter what genre the movie is, you have to make the characters likable, at least some of the characters likable. There are movies that are so good that even the villains of the movie are likable. In this movie, none of the characters were likable, so you don't care for the characters, you don't care for the storyline. It was genuinely a horrible movie. It wasn't scary, it was a cheap thrill. It was not good. It was not a good movie. It's very overhyped. I'm not surprised, though, because it was produced by Blumhouse, and lately Blumhouse has been putting out dog shit. Now, Moana, the live-action remake, just hit theaters, and I haven't, nor do I plan to go see it, because I've been seeing videos of it on TikTok, and it genuinely looks horrible. It looks mostly CGI, despite the fact that it's supposed to be a live-action remake, and the CGI looks terrible. It looks like something made by a 3-year-old. It looks genuinely horrible. The actress that they chose for Moana was a horrible casting choice. Casting Dwayne Johnson, I get it kind of makes sense because Dwayne Johnson voiced Maui originally, but putting The Rock in a wig and removing his nipples just looks wrong and weird, and it just doesn't fit the premise of the movie. The whole movie looks like an SNL, like a poorly done SNL skit. Doesn't look good. Moving on. Today, I'd like to talk about my old roommate, Noah Meserve. He was actually the worst roommate that I had. And I bring him up, well, because he just tried to undermine me on my own TikTok account. Now, when it comes to roommates, I'm lucky to say that I haven't really had any bad experiences. I've heard so many horror stories about people who genuinely don't get along with their roommates, and that just makes for a living environment where you can't even relax in your own home. Luckily, that never happened with me. But Meserve, if I had to rank my roommates from worst to best, Meserve would be at the very bottom. When I first moved in with him, so I lived with him and one other dude, and they didn't really bother me at first. Noah Meserve, it's very obvious that he likes video games because he would talk about it, but more specifically, we would hear him screaming at his console all day and all night long. It would just be random throughout the day. He would scream at his video game like a little girl at random times throughout the day and night. So it was kind of annoying, but it was really nothing that you couldn't get over. And then once we started getting settled in, and once we start to get to know each other, he left the place a fucking mess. There were dirty dishes in the sink, there was rotting food in the refrigerator, there was laundry that was out. And I know it was him because the way the house was set up is he lived downstairs and me and my other roommate, we lived upstairs. And I had a mini fridge in my room, so I barely even used the kitchen. I was barely even outside. Listen, my last apartment was honestly one of the best times I ever had because it was also the time of my life where I was the most isolated, because I would literally come home from work and then I would go home, I would bring whatever food I had with me home and put it in my mini fridge, and I had a TV in my room too. I would literally stay in my room and I would podcast, game, watch TV, whatever. I was literally in my room the entire time. I didn't leave my house unless it was to go to work. Sometimes I would go for a motorbike ride, and that was about it. Definitely the most isolated period of my life. And it sounds depressing, but I honestly rather enjoyed it. The chair's squeaky. I didn't realize it went up this high.
Do you make another video?
Yeah, it's live now.
The light is okay there, or you need more light?
Oh yeah, it looks great. It looks great. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I always clean the camera on the front. Make sure it's clean. The little camera on the iPad.
Yeah, it looks great. I'll show it to you when I'm done with it. But it looks terrific.
I know. I told my girlfriend you make a video last night. I told her, why didn't you say nothing? Because while working, I was quiet. I get the no, I'm here because I was quiet because my friend made a video. I'm his friend.
Oh yeah.
He said, oh, okay. But he sings too, you know, he don't sing.
No, I don't sing.
Like crazy motherfucker song sings.
Yeah, I don't sing.
She don't like Beowulf. She said, why do you say that?
Oh, I curse a lot.
He loves you, he's a good song. Yeah, he's a good song and a great father too, you know? What the fuck? I thought to her that she get messy, man. But she don't like Beowulf, you know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Bad language, I mean.
Yeah, I'm quite the opposite.
Talking badly to her, not to her about anything, you know. Not about
Right.
her.
So, what was I saying about my old roommate? Oh, so this morning I checked my TikTok and I saw that someone had left a comment on one of my videos, and that comment was from no other than Noah Meserve himself. He had responded to someone who commented on one of my videos, claiming that I owed him $250. And you know, I blocked his account and I was like, you know, so you say I owe you money. Why don't you call me? This dude has my number. You could have called me. You could have texted me. I mean, I would think that it is much easier to pick up your phone, open the phone app, search for my name in your contacts, hit the call button, and if you have an issue, call me. Most people who have an issue with me, most people honestly who have an issue with me is because they don't agree with the stuff that I say on my podcast. They don't have access to me. They can send a message request and that's it. This guy literally has my phone number. It's so easy for you to just call my phone and be like, hey, we have a problem. But no, this guy actually blocks my phone number because I checked earlier because I needed to pull up our old messages for what I'm about to read out to you guys. And in case you don't believe me, here he is at the top. It says, Noah roommate, not available. This motherfucker blocked my phone number. For what reason, I don't know, because I haven't spoken to him in forever, because I don't live with him anymore. Then he looks up my TikTok and starts commenting shit on my TikTok videos, responding to random strangers. Buddy, I don't even know who my own followers are. They certainly don't know who you are. Like, do you genuinely believe, like, are you stupid? You're not gonna get money. You're not gonna get free money by commenting to strangers, oh, by the way, this guy owes me money. Oh, really? I owe you money, you say? Call me, motherfucker. Fucking call, you fucking bitch. So anyway, when I lived with him, you know, the guy's a total slob, the guy's a loser. I don't really care. Like, if you want to be a loser, if you want to scream at your console all day like a little bitch and not have any real hobbies, that's fine. I'm not saying don't video game. I play video games all the time. I live stream playing video games, but it's not my main hobby. I don't do it even every day. If video gaming or watching TV or any activity that just involves you just sitting and doing nothing is your main hobby, you are a genuine loser. And I know it was him that was making a mess in the house too, because, you know, me and my other roommate, we lived upstairs. And I know I'm not the one using the kitchen because I'm barely in the kitchen. I keep my food in the room. I never use the refrigerator. My roommate told me that, like, you know, there's like a rotten chicken in the refrigerator. Like, it had been there for like a week and it was stinking up the whole refrigerator to the point where the water that he kept in the refrigerator tasted like rotten chicken. And it genuinely upsetted him. So he put it in the group chat twice, mind you. Hey, whoever's chicken this is, please throw it out. It's stinking up the whole kitchen. No response. I'm not gonna respond because it's not my chicken. I didn't even know the chicken was in there. Like, I'm just so out of the loop when it comes to stuff that's going around the house. because the only part of the house I use is my own bedroom. I come downstairs to do my laundry, I get my laundry, and I go back upstairs to my room. Like once a week, I will cook a pot of rice, and then I will clean up my dishes and take them all back upstairs. And then eventually I stopped doing that altogether because I don't like cooking. That's a woman's job. You know, in this economy, it costs just as much money to buy fast food for every meal than it does to go buy groceries. That's how bad the economy is. You wanna know how bad the economy is? Yesterday I went to the grocery store and spent $40 on 3 items. You wanna know what I bought? I bought a shirt that cost $10. I got a book that cost $10. And I got a lasagna for dinner. Somehow I left the store spending $40 because inflation is so bad and sales tax is so bad and the economy is bad in general. I don't understand how buying 3 things cost me $40 fucking dollars. But it's like people, like these adults who are just out of the loop with everything. They try to tell you, oh, well, you should save money by, you know, going to the grocery store instead of buying processed food. Listen, I don't have time to cook. I don't like cooking. And it costs just as much, possibly even more, to actually go out and buy your own food and then bring it home and then chop it up and then cook it and try not to set the house on fire. So I just eat out for every meal. I either eat out or I buy like a frozen family-sized lasagna or frozen something and just stock it all in my fridge. Something that I can microwave. I don't have the patience to sit around and wait for my food to cook. I don't even have the patience to put my food in the microwave and let it warm up for 30 seconds. I'm a very impatient person. So this guy blocks my number for what reason I genuinely don't know, and then tracks down my TikTok and starts commenting shit. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. So to illustrate how much of a bitch this guy is, like I said, guys, like y'all do whatever you want to do with your life. This is a common misconception about me because I'm seen online as someone who's like very angry or very strict. I'm actually not that way in real life. I'm actually very easy to get along with. Whatever you're doing in your life, I genuinely don't care. As long as you don't try to force your beliefs on me, or as long as you're not like hypocritical or like you lack basic human decency, I'll have a conversation with you. I'll have a drink with you. I don't care. I'm not like that. So I'm like, okay, like this guy plays video games all day. Other than the fact that it's kind of irritating that he's screaming every hour or so, doesn't affect me. Oh, he leaves the house a mess? Well, I don't use the house anyway, so unless roaches start showing up, I don't give a fuck. One day, I'm upstairs. I got home from work late at night, wasn't really feeling well. So I turned on the TV and I was binge watching I forget which show I was binge watching, but I was binge watching one of my shows. This is one of the rare instances where I was watching TV for like 6 hours straight. At exactly 6:09 in the morning, Noah texts me, yo, and this is my exact text. I will upload the screenshots later to my Instagram and TikTok for y'all to see for yourselves. He texts me, yo, can you take your shoes off or walk quieter or something? Your footsteps are so loud they woke me up. I see the text message. I kid you not, I'm literally in my bed about to doze off. It was one of those nights where I turned on the TV and I'm about to literally fall asleep watching TV. I hear the phone go off. So I check my phone and I'm like, it is 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, cause I'm still wearing my watch. I look at my watch. I'm like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Who is texting me? I see the text and I said, that's not me. I've been sitting for the past couple hours, haven't moved once. Like, I kid you not, I haven't even gotten up to go to the bathroom, nothing. And then I got really pissed. Because if there's one thing that I don't like, it's when people accuse me of shit that I haven't even done. Especially if you just jump to the conclusion that I did something with no evidence. Like, you're gonna accuse me of something that I didn't do in my own house? So I went off on this motherfucker. I said to him, word for word, so I've been watching TV pretty much all night, barely moved at all. You hear a noise and instantly assumed it was me without reason. Since you want to act like a little bitch, let's talk about the fact that both myself and my other roommate can hear you screaming at your console all day, every day. Don't fucking tell me to be quiet, especially when I'm not the one making the noise, especially when we all have to put up with you screaming like a toddler at your TV all fucking night and all fucking day. You're the one leaving the house a fucking mess all the time. You're the one making a ruckus, and somehow you're the one always complaining about everything. Guys, in like my last few months of living there, like probably like my last 4 to 5 months living there, he suddenly started complaining about every little thing. And it's like, dude, I haven't even seen you in weeks. Like, what is there, genuinely, what is there to whine about? Like, I literally come home, go upstairs, shut the door, and I don't come out. Like, I am as isolated as I can possibly be. I don't talk to you guys. What the fuck is your issue? So he responds, wanna explain how I'm making the house a mess when I barely use anything outside my room? LOL, I assumed it was you because it was coming from above me, not without reason. Cool, so you didn't fucking apologize for some reason assume, even though you have 2 roommates upstairs, you assumed I was the one making all the noise. I don't even know what noise you were talking about because I didn't hear anything. That whatever excuse, that BS response that he gave, that still doesn't justify him hearing a noise and then assuming it was me and automatically accusing me of something that I clearly didn't do. Like, I just don't appreciate that. Like, that's not how you treat people. And I set him straight and I told him what's up. Like, I'm not taking shit from anybody. Anyway, and since then he would like put complaints about random stuff in the group chat and stuff, and I ignored it all. And you know, it's so funny to me that the people who are the biggest losers are also the biggest complainers. The people who actually have a life worth living, the people who actually have genuine things and activities and hobbies and goals to accomplish, they don't have room to complain about stuff that's not worth complaining about. But the guy who sits on his computer all day playing video games, watching TV, jerking off to anime girls, he's always the guy who's complaining about everything under the sun. Bro, every day, like, at first it was fine. I didn't really talk to him. I didn't really talk to my other roommate either. Then, gradually, over time, I started talking to my other roommate more because, you know, we lived on the same floor, so we would run into each other as we were coming and going. And I know he was out of the house almost as much as I was because he had a full-time job and he was also rushing a fraternity. So he was barely even in the house. I didn't really have a problem with him. We had a bit of a rut trash when we first moved in, but we worked that out. We ironed that out. I didn't really have a problem with him. I actually grew to quite like the guy. But he did express his frustrations a couple times because he would come home and the house was a complete mess. There was rotten food in the counter. The trash was spilling over and not taken out. The laundry was out. Like, he would go to wash his clothes and wet clothes would be sitting there for days. And he knew it wasn't me because he knew that I came home and went straight to my room. And, like, he also saw that, like, anytime I did cook something or do my laundry or whatever, I was cleaned up after myself. I would come downstairs and I would sweep the house because even though I didn't use the fucking living room or the kitchen or whatever, hey, I still live here, I still pay rent here, I might as well do my part. Even though I would argue that I really didn't need to because I literally didn't use that part of the house. So we both knew that it was Noah that was making a mess. So his little excuse like, oh, I barely use anything in the house, oh, I'm not the one leaving, that's a lie. That is a straight up lie. Just like it was a complete lie when he responded to that stranger that I owe him $250. Noah Meserve, if you're watching this, you're not getting a fucking penny out of me. You are not getting a fucking penny out of me. Like, and like, even like, let's just pretend he is being completely honest and that I do owe him $250. What is the point of extorting me on TikTok? You're not gonna get your money that way. You're just gonna get blocked. And for those of you who say, oh yeah, Adonis is a little bitch, he just blocked him. Well, yeah, if you're gonna comment shit just for the sake of commenting shit on my TikTok and antagonize my followers, you're gonna get fucking blocked. This guy's a fucking clown. He is a fucking clown. So yeah, fuck that guy. Moving on to other subjects, the last subject that I want to cover on here is this debate. Hopefully, maybe someone will join and they can debate me on this. AI Summary says, discussing a roommate's constant complaints and accusations. Yeah, that dude is honestly pathetic. How's it going, guys? Welcome in. That dude is honestly pathetic. Like, I literally come home from work. I don't talk to you. I don't even see you. I go upstairs to my room and I'm either podcasting or I'm sleeping or I'm watching TV. If I'm not doing one of those things, I am out of the house. Like, I'm not even home. Meanwhile, when I do come home, I have to listen to your screaming every day and every night. Does this dude even have a job? I mean, he states that he works at the Olive Garden off of Appalachian Parkway, but I don't see how he has a job when he has this much free time on his hands. And you know, for someone who makes so much noise, listen, I should be able to blast Metallica music at 6 a.m. in the morning on full blast and he can't say a fucking word. Listen, if he was a normal fucking roommate who was quiet as a mouse, or at least reasonably quiet and not screaming like a little girl every hour or every couple hours, then you have the right to complain when things get noisy. You know, put in the group chat, hey, whoever's making noise, keep it down, instead of just assuming that it was me and attacking me for it. But to make noise all day and all night, I kid you not, it's like this dude is like a robot. It's like he doesn't work, he doesn't sleep, he doesn't eat. He just exists to LARP in video game. And then when you hear a noise that's for once not you, you decide that it's on me for some reason. Why did you assume it was me and not the other roommate? That's what I want to know. Why did you assume that the other roommate didn't make that noise? Like that's what I want to know. What made you think that it was me? I'm probably the quietest person in the house. Like, that's not how you treat people. And then in the group chat, oh my God, it was every day. It was something else. It was complaining about this, complaining about that, complaining about this. I'm like, dude, what do you have to complain about? I don't talk to you and neither does the other guy. You basically live alone. It's as if the lower part of the apartment and the upper part of the apartment are like two completely different components. Like, we literally don't see you or talk to you. Like, what the fuck are you even complaining about? Holy shit. So that guy is a genuine douchebag and a clown, and he won't make it very far in life. Because, I mean, you have to be a total dumbass. Because, like I said, if I did owe you money, you could have just picked up your phone and called me because you have something that most people don't, which is my phone number. Instead, you blocked my phone number, even though I haven't contacted you. Then you track down my TikTok page and get blocked because you want to antagonize my followers. Where is your headspace at, man? Are you high? Are you on some sort of mind-altering drugs? You have to be. Like, where is your brain at, dude? Where is your fucking brain at? Okay, so moving on to other subjects. Is having sex before marriage a sin? I want y'all's genuine opinions on this. Put your opinions in the chat or request to join and debate me on this topic. You know, I came up with this topic because yesterday I saw a clip from the show Young Sheldon. This takes place later on in the show after Georgie impregnates Mandy. Basically, from what the context given from the clip, because I've never actually watched Young Sheldon in its entirety, but I've seen so many clips on TikTok, I basically know what happens in the show. Basically, Georgie and Mandy are sharing a room and they are living under the roof of the Cooper family, so George and Mary's house. Mary, being the superstitious, religious mom that she is, she doesn't like the fact that Georgie and Mandy are sharing a room together and presumably having sex together because they are not yet married. And it is a sin to have sex before marriage. So she goes to George and she tells George that he needs to talk to them, and George thinks this idea is absolutely ridiculous. He says, like, Mandy's literally having his kid. They're gonna share a room together. And also, it's none of our fucking business if they're having sex or not having sex. And then Mary says, but it's a sin to have sex before marriage. To which George responds, and like a good Christian, I choose to forgive them. Well, that isn't good enough for Mary, and Mary takes it upon herself to go to their room, and talk to them about their sex life. If that was me, oh my God, I don't care who it is. If someone came up to me and stuck their fucking noses in my personal shit, because listen, your sex life is between you and whoever you're choosing to have sex with. If someone came to me and started getting involved in my sex life like that, oh my God, I would punch them so hard their head would come flying right off their torso. This is another one of my pet peeves. Don't get involved in my personal shit. Do not get involved in my personal business. I will go off on you and I will not hold back. I don't know a perfect example of this. Quick break from this. I know I've already told this story, but let me retell it for those of you who are new here. I've made quite a few. I think I'm on like episode 64 of the Adonis podcast, so I've got quite a lot of content out there. But when I used to live in Tallahassee, I was friends with this girl named Ivana Major. And Ivana liked me, or at least she pretended to, because she exclusively asked me to take her out on a date more than once. She exclusively showed interest. She would FaceTime me, she would call me. She used to do live streaming, and she would invite me to co-host her live streams with her. I was willing to give her a chance because she was attractive, and she stood me up. She stood me up. She was a bitch. Like, how are you gonna be, like, mind you, I asked her out. She literally was the one who came to me. She asked me to hang out with me. She asked me to ask her out on a date. And then she stood me up. So, I went off on her. Came across her TikTok one day. She had a video of her grabbing some guy's foot and playing with it. And I had reposted it, making fun of her for it. And her boss, because Ivana used to work at this nightclub called the Tally Strip, her boss had seen me making fun of the video, and she told me to take it down, and she DM'd me. Her name was Oriana Simone. She had told me to take it down, and she DM'd me like, hey, if you have an issue, you can contact me about it, but don't like go making fun of my staff and antagonizing my staff. And oh my God, I sent her like 3 separate texts, all with several paragraphs. I went off on her so hard. And see, here's the thing. I used to actually have conversations with her, and I used to get along with her, and I genuinely enjoyed hanging out with her. But she DM'd me. I don't forget. I'm going to go through my files later and see if I can find it. But I'm going to try and word it as best as I can because it happened a long time ago, so my memory might be a little phased out. But she basically said, like, hey, if this happens again, we are going to have a discussion in person, and it's going to be a more severe discussion. So my mind went to, like, I think what she's trying to say without actually saying it is that I'm going to get jumped. Because, you know, she works in a nightclub. She's got a bunch of big security guards around her at all times. I was a regular at this nightclub. I'm like, is this girl trying to jump me over a freaking post or whatever? But I explained to her that this was not a work situation. It was not as if I was going to Ivana's job to go and harass her at her job, or I was posting pictures of her while she was at her job. Matter of fact, if I did go to the Tally Strip because it was a very popular hangout place for everyone in the FSU community, if I went there, I would specifically avoid her. If I saw that she was working, I would literally go to a different bartender and avoid contact with her because I didn't want to be the guy who was giving her a hard time at her job, despite the fact that a lot of people, including some of her own friends, tracked me down to my job and gave me a hard time at my jobs. And by the way, the FSU community recently actually caused me to lose my job. I never wanted to be that guy. Like, I have a code that I live by. I know I come across as aggressive and sometimes mean sometimes, but I do have a code and morals that I live by. I'm not going to extort somebody at their job. I'm not doing that. So if I did go to the strip and I saw that she was working there, I would literally go to a completely different bartender on the other side of the club. I would avoid that side of the club where she was at completely. So this whole situation was a personal situation, one that I'm getting low on battery. I need to speed this up. One that did not involve Oriana at all. And I used to work in retail at the time. That would be like if I went home, I ran into an issue with somebody, and then my boss from my retail store, he decided to call them up. And regardless if I was at fault or not, he decided to, like, get involved. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, she's not your child. She's your employee. She and I have a situation, a personal situation that doesn't involve you or your business. Why are you getting involved? And I went off on her ass. I was so fucking mad. I mean, after all, she's a black lady. I thought black people knew out of everyone that, you mind your fucking business. And after I said everything that I needed to say, I'm pretty sure I said most of it in capital letters, she backed off and she apologized and she admitted I was right. And I was too angry to even talk to her about it. I just didn't talk to her ever again. And I didn't go to the strip for months because I didn't want to see her. And then one day, my friend, he wanted me to go because it was his friend's birthday party. He was like, my friend's coming from out of town. He hasn't seen you in months. You should come. I didn't want to go to the strip. And I got the gut feeling that if I went to the strip that night, I was going to get trespassed. And I told him, and he's like, you're overthinking things. Like, just come. I ended up going. Oriana was there. I didn't talk to her. I didn't go to her bar. I didn't even acknowledge her existence. As we're leaving the club, some red-headed fat guy came up to me and pressed his fat-ass, large stomach up against my cheekbone. He was like 2 feet taller than me. And he was like, hey, I need to talk to you. I thought it was just some random dude. I've never seen this dude before. So I'm like, I'm not talking to you. Like, what the fuck? He calls the cops over because the cops are hanging out in the parking lot. Turns out this guy's one of the managers there, and he orders the cops to trespass me. And I'm like, what for? Like, I haven't done anything. I haven't said anything to anybody. Like, I literally didn't even leave the group that I came with. I was with my group of like 5 people the entire night. Didn't talk to anybody. So I know for a fact I wasn't causing issues. I didn't even have a drink that night. I didn't even have a single sip of alcohol. So I know it wasn't one of those nights where, I got a little tipsy or even blacked out and did something stupid. They wouldn't tell me why they were trespassing me. They just trespassed me, and, the cops gave me the whole rundown, like, if you come back here again, you're going to get arrested, so don't come back on this property. Don't even enter the parking lot, which is crazy to me how they have homeless people sleeping in the parking lot, but if I step in the parking lot, now it's a fucking problem. So I left, and honestly, I can't say for certain why I got trespassed from there because I've had quite a few issues in the FSU community which led to me getting trespassed from more than one place. But if I were to guess, I would say it was because I had that issue with Oriana. Which is fine. If you want to be a fucking child and trespass me from your nightclub instead of handling shit like adults, fine. I don't want to give money to your garbage nightclub anyway. Like, I came here, I paid to get in. Like, when I come here, except for that one time because I didn't get any drinks, like, when I come here, I tip all the bartenders, I buy drinks and whatnot. If y'all want to be a fucking child and get all emotional because you were out of place and I put you back in your place, fine. I don't need to come to your club. I made a podcast episode about it and went off on them, and I even exposed them for the fact that they have underage drinkers as young as 16 going in there and drinking and doing drugs in their club. And the Tyler Strip management is well aware of this. And listen, by the way they're running their business, they are sooner or later going to put themselves out of business. So I don't even care. Anyway, now let's get back on track. The whole reason why that whole scenario came up is because of someone's requesting to join. Let's see. Waiting for the guest to join. He might have left. I think he left. Okay. I guess I'll get back to what I was saying. So, there are people like Mary that exist in real world where they feel the need to listen. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, there is always someone who feels the need to force their ideologies onto you and force you to live their way of life. But the reality is, being different from everybody else is what makes us human. We're all unique in our own separate ways. You will not meet two humans who are exactly the same in every regard. We all have our own very unique styles and opinions and beliefs and morals and codes that we live by. That's what makes us humans. That's what makes us interesting. Because if we were all the same, quite frankly, we'd be boring. If we were all clones of each other, there would be no complexion to humanity. It would be boring. And people like Mary, who act like they're perfect Christians, who act like they never sin, who feel the need to force their ideologies onto other people, they're the reason why the youth is so prone to turn away from churches and turn away from God. And eventually, what has driven us away from what we are now living in a godless society. The youth is luckily, thanks to people like Charlie Kirk and others, thankfully the youth is now turning back to God. But for a while, the youth lived in a very godless society, which is where hookup culture came from, and people in my age group basically lived with no morals and no values, and they lived recklessly, and they honestly didn't care if they lived or died or if they went to heaven or hell, and it created a very reckless society with a lot of very awful people. How's it going, RC? RC, if you want to request a debate, I'm about to go into Christianity. I'd like your opinion on this, actually. Do you think it's a sin to have sex before marriage? I'm about to get into this. But I feel like, listen, I'm not a Christian. I do support Christianity. I do believe in Christianity. But I don't agree with everything that Christianity promotes. One of the things that I don't agree with is having sex before marriage, because I feel like it's a natural urge to want to have sex and not necessarily get married for it. Listen, getting married is basically a contract from the government that states, hey, I sleep with this person and we live together. Like, there is genuinely nothing that you can't do not married. Like, you can still buy a house together, you can still get a joint bank account, you can still start a family, get a pet. Like, there's genuinely no point in getting married, especially when we live in such a godless society where the woman is most likely to divorce you just so that she can steal your money and take your pet and take your kids. Actually, right before I got on here, I saw a TikTok about a lawyer, because there's a few lawyers that I follow on my TikTok page, and this divorce lawyer was talking about how cruel women have gotten. This one lady, she divorced her husband, and one of the things that she was taking from him, aside from all his assets, was his dog. She didn't even want the dog. She was just taking his dog to hurt him, to emotionally hurt him. And the guy said to his divorce lawyer, he said, listen, I don't even care about the house. I don't even care about the money. I don't care any about that. Just please get my dog back. And he was literally in tears. And it's like, women today, they just don't care. Women are cruel. They're the cruelest creatures on the planet. Like, call me misogynist or an incel or whatnot. I genuinely don't care. I lived through this myself. I almost went to jail because women have accused me of raping them. Women that I've never even met before have accused me of raping them, simply because they wanted to shut down my podcast because they didn't agree with the things that I was saying and the content that I was promoting. Like, I know firsthand how cruel, like, I used to be a playboy too. I understand firsthand how just genuinely how cruel women can be. But, so, let me first explain this. The reason why the Bible wants you to get married before having sex is because we've seen what happens when people just have endless sex for the sake of it or to brag about their body count. Look at hookup culture. It's created broken families, fatherless children. It's created broken households where the mother's a complete wreck and the kids grow up to be criminals, the kids grow up to be heartbroken. We've got people dying from sexual diseases like AIDS. There was some celebrity, I forget her name, but there was literally a celebrity that just died. I just remembered. I forget her name, but it was the girl who voiced Lilo in the original cartoon Lilo and Stitch, not the remake, the original. She literally just died from AIDS, which is a sexually transmitted disease. If you get to know one partner and you find the right partner that's right for you, and you fall in love with them not because of their looks or because of their body, but because of who they are as a person, the chances of all that shit happening go significantly lower, closer to zero. All this abortion shit, all these women partying on birth control and just getting abortions left and right, and then going and having sex again just to get another abortion, and not even to the point where they're just soulless human beings. That wouldn't happen if we lived in a Christian society where people got married before having sex and they started families the right way. But here's what's happening. Because humans naturally have a sexual urge to want to have sex and sleep with the opposite sex, what's happening now is you've got two types of people. You've got rebels who grew up in Christian families, and they're going to become rebels, and they're just going to sleep around behind their parents' back. Because, I mean, look what happened to Georgie. He impregnated a woman who was decades older than him. Missy Cooper, too, she becomes a bit of a rebel, and she starts hooking up, although I don't think she actually got impregnated by it, though. And something in the show that was ever pointed out is that Mary doesn't teach her kids about safe sex. And instead, she teaches them not to have sex before marriage because it's a sin. So then what happens is that people rush into marriages. I personally know several people who have gotten married in their early 20s, and those marriages have failed. Now, I don't know why these people got married so young. I don't care either, because it's genuinely not my business. But I will tell you this, do not get married in your 20s, or at least not in your early 20s. Wait until you're at least 25. Because I'll admit it, I'm 22 now. When you're young, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You generally don't know what the fuck you're doing. You haven't lived yet, you haven't experienced things yet, you haven't gotten to know yourself yet. You need time to live and learn. You need time to live and learn, just like the song, Live and Learn. You need time to get to know yourself. You need time to learn what you like and what you don't like. You need to get to know yourself before you get to know your partner. I'm not saying don't date. I'm not saying don't get a girlfriend. But, don't marry a girl that you just met. Don't marry a girl 6 months or even a year into the relationship. Wait at least a couple years into the relationship. I would say wait either at least until you're 2 years into the relationship, because if you're still with the same person 2 years later, chances are the relationship's gonna last. Or wait until you're at least 25. The average age to get married in America right now is 30. And it's actually better for women to have kids when they're younger because they're more fertile. So you don't want to wait until you're 30 to have kids. You want to have kids young. But you don't want to be a single mother either. I think it's good for women to be married if they're going to have a family, if they're going to have kids. But wait until you're at least 25. Don't get married at 18 or 19 or 21 or 22. That's just stupid. That's just guaranteed failure. I don't care how much in love you are. It's a guaranteed failure. And people get married young for different reasons. Sometimes they're thinking with their dick. Sometimes they grew up in a Christian household where they were taught that, if you have sex before marriage, you're going to go to hell. And so what happens is they rush into a marriage because they have such a strong urge to have sex. I don't think that's healthy. I think it's healthier to start dating, get into a long-term relationship with a partner, practice safe sex, use a condom, get to know someone. I guess I'm kind of in the middle, okay? I don't agree with hookup culture. I don't agree with ranking up your body count. I don't care what gender you are. I don't agree with ranking up your body count and sleeping with as many people as possible. I don't agree with that. I think it's going to ultimately lead to you losing your soul. At the same time, I also don't agree with you just getting married just for the sake of having sex. Like, you got to make sure you're getting married for the right reasons, too. And to just wait and, like, be a virgin for as long as possible and just wait, like any other emotion, if you suppress it for too long, it's eventually going to boil over. Like, I know one friend, I am not going to say his name on here, and hopefully he doesn't get mad at me for telling this story, but I know one friend where he was trying so hard to be a Christian, and the first girl he, like, went on a date with, he, like, immediately asked her to marry him, and she got creeped out, and she left, and after that, he got really horny, and he became a simp, and because basically his suppressed emotion of wanting to have sex boiled over, and he became really horny, and he became a simp, and he became a creep, and, I told him, like, you can't do that, if you're a simp, girls aren't gonna like you. If you don't care, girls are gonna like you. It's a weird psychology. I don't understand. Listen, after all the shit I've been through, I understand women more now, which is also why I avoid them for the most part. However, I still don't completely understand them. I don't understand why women would rather be with a guy who is disrespectful to them versus a guy who loves them. I don't understand why women would rather chase after the guy who shows no interest versus the guy who shows that he clearly likes them. I don't get it. At the same time, if you're too much of a simp, if you're, like, hungry for a girl, I get that too, because I've had people, not necessarily in a sexual sense, but I've had people grow attached to me, and it gets annoying. Like, you can feel the hunger coming off of them, and it gets annoying. It makes you not want to be around them. Pussy joined. That is a weird username. Someone else is requested to join. And he left. Okay. It seems like y'all are requesting to debate and then canceling your requests. Not sure why you're doing that. But yeah, I guess I'm somewhere in the middle. And that's also why I won't consider myself a true Christian, because while I do support and promote a lot of the things that are done in the Christian community, there's also stuff that I don't completely agree with. So I feel like I can't call myself a Christian if I'm not fully on board. And, I see so many hypocrites. I see people who are horrible people who have a Bible verse in their bio. I see women who post something about bikini pictures who claim that they're Christians when it literally states in the Bible that's, you're not supposed to do that. I'd also like to, before I end things, I'd like to point out that it literally says in the Bible that a woman is supposed to be submissive to her man. It is unbiblical for women to be unsubmissible. So to just end the whole debate here, because right now there's this whole controversial debate going around that, whether or not it is possible for a husband to sexually assault his wife, whether or not he needs to ask for permission before he engages in any kind of sexual activity with his wife. It literally states in the Bible that you are supposed to be submissive to your husband. Like Savannah Stone, I think her last name is. I know her first name is Savannah, I forget her last name, but she literally said that, like, if my husband wants sex, I'm not going to deny him that. Like, it is literally unbiblical for you to be non-submissive to your husband. It is literally unbiblical. So I think that pretty much ends that debate there. Do you math debate your pool C? What? I don't understand what you mean by that. Is that a misspell? Yeah, I don't... resend that, or just hit the request box. I genuinely don't understand your question. Alright, welcome back. I saw you left and then came back. Okay, I'm about to get off of here in a second, but... I can't... guys, I don't go to church. I don't read the Bible every day. I don't believe in not having sex before marriage. I think that's stupid. Literally every other animal has sex and they don't get married. And also, at least in today's society, marriage is just a contract from the government. You're asking the government for permission to fuck your own wife. I don't agree with that at all. And also, if you genuinely believe that you're going to find a virgin woman who's never been with another guy in 2026, you're a delusional idiot. The goal is not to find a virgin woman. The goal is to find a woman who is as least amount of a hoe as possible. Because let's face it, every woman is a hoe to some degree. I mean, even if she's not everyone's hoe, like, you still want your woman to be submissive to you when she's in your bed. So maybe if she's not everyone's hoe, you still want her to be your hoe when the time calls for it, right? So the goal is not for a woman to not be a hoe entirely. You want a woman who is just not available for everyone else. You want a woman who has a cleaner past, not necessarily a clean past, because to try and find a woman who's, I mean, like, I'm 22 now, so for me to go out and try and find a woman who's, I don't know, 20, 21, 22, maybe 23, around my age group, who's never been with another man, who's completely clean, who's still a virgin, it's just highly unrealistic and a little ridiculous, honestly. But I would rather be with a woman who's been in, I don't know, 2 long-term relationships and now she's in a relationship with me, versus a woman who has like 50 bodies who just sleeps around for the sake of it. It's like buying a car. Do you want like, if you're looking to get a used car, would you like a used car who's had 1 or 2 previous owners that is well taken care of? Or do you want a used car that's had 50 different owners and it's beaten and wore down and tore up? I don't know, but that's going to be it for today because my battery is about to die. I'm going to be doing more live streams at some point when I'm less busy, so follow me on TikTok and on Kick. My username is the same everywhere. It's Adonis Ultimate or some variation of that. So follow me on there, hit the request box to debate, and yeah, let's further discuss this. Thanks for joining. This is the Adonis Podcast.